we have features. It takes years of being that guy and trying to convince clubs you're the last guy. I can hold the end of the show. I can keep the crowd's interest for an hour and make them go home really happy. So that's when I started building that thing. I was still a warm-up guy when I started building the ending, and I had guys praying to the club, please don't let me follow that guy again. And that's how I got moved up.
That's funny because 20-something years ago, I wasn't planning on being here. I was in Atlanta trying to get on, be a voice and writer for the Cartoon Network.
Really?
To get a job there, you have to start out as a tour guide at the CNN Tower.
Do you?
And I was like, man, so I'm doing that for 2 months. I'm like, screw this. I'm getting into radio. So I got a little local radio in Atlanta, got hired here in Kicks Country thinking, this is going to be a nice little 2-year place to put on my resume, build it up. And here I am 18 years later.
It's a crazy world. You got to keep your eyes open. This is supposed to be a
pit stop, man.
You got to keep your eyes open. Young folks, don't put blinders on and just plow forward. You might be disappointed. Keep your eyes and ears open for those side roads that may be the way you're supposed to be going.
You know what my problem was? I got comfortable.
Yeah.
I lost the hunger. I lost the hunger. I'm like, this is easy, comfortable, and I lost the hunger.
That'll do it.
Yep.
Happens a lot.
It does.
All right, I'm going to do a song now about breast reduction surgery.
Beautiful.
Stop it! Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you.
My next musical number. I'm going to do a song I wrote from the heart. It's from my grandmother. It's called She's Got Breasts Like Slinkies, But Nobody Cares, But Man, You Ought to See Her Go Downstairs. And there's not really a song. It's just a title.
It's a working title.
Folks, you've already pictured it. The joke's over.
No doubt. All right. So you're still living in Georgia?
I am. Augusta.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Nice. Augusta.
I've been to the Masters twice, but yeah, I like Augusta a lot. Beautiful town.
It is.
It's weird. I actually live right outside of Augusta. My mom and sister live in Augusta, but I live in a town. It's spelled Martinez. And when I moved there, it turned out it's a guy, a Cuban named Martinez, who owned all the land at one time. He was a rich plantation owner. But anyway, Georgians don't pronounce it that way. Somewhere along the line, they pronounce it their own way, and they will correct you if you try to pronounce it the proper way. Very strange to move from Florida, the melting pot of Northerners, to this hillbilly land.
Okay.
So I'm in a tire changing place, and he goes, "Where do you live?" And I give my address, and I say, "I live in Martinez." And he goes, looks at his buddy, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "It's Martinez." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Yeah." He looks at his buddy, he goes, "Martinez." He goes, "What are you, some kind of Latino?" I'm like, "Me?" And he's talking, "Yeah, man, but I like that Latino food, don't you, Jimmy? Man, I like them chimichangas, them burritos, them quesadillos, Get yourself a side of beans and Ricky. Put some guacamole and Tabasco sauce on that. Wash it down with a margarita. That's great."
That's great.
And I'm like, "Why did I move here?"
No doubt. But, at least you got, like you said, you've got Augusta. You got the golf course.
That's true. I can go into civilization whenever I want.
Well, why not Atlanta?
I went there first. I was living in Tennessee. Long story. Okay. But I did want to look at Atlanta. It was just too expensive. That's the reason.
Yeah, I lived in Marietta and Woodstock. But I had a nice view of downtown.
They charge so much money even to be in the suburbs because they know everybody wants to go there because they got their jobs, so they want to go in the suburbs and whatnot. It was just so expensive. I looked all day at apartments, and then I drove to Augusta to visit my mom and sister on the way. Yeah. And Mom's like, "Well, why don't you just move here? Like, it's really affordable." And it is. And I said, "Well, okay, why not?" She said, "You can live anywhere as a comic, can't you?" And I said, "Yeah." So I rented there and then bought a house the next year, bought a foreclosure, and remodeled the whole thing.
Oh, wow. Do they have a comedy club in Augusta?
No.
So what do you call home as far as the clubs? Like, say you want to go and test out something. Do you do that? Do you go to a certain club?
Not anymore.
Where you're home?
Now we do it when people pay me. They pay me to test out new stuff, which is really nice. Right. But no, there was a one-nighter. That's all that was in Augusta when I got there. It was a one-nighter for Comedy Zone, but eventually the restaurant went out of business and it's gone.
They followed the Vasani model. Look out.
I'm from Tampa. Side Splitters was my home club when I lived in Tampa.
Okay. Because I know, like in Jacksonville, they go to that Holiday Inn Comedy Club.
Sure.
It's their little home.
Yeah, I've been there many times. Yeah. There's a Comedy Zone in Jacksonville.
Okay, is that what it's called?
We have a zone there, too.
Yeah, sure. The hotel's the Ramada Inn.
Oh, was it a Ramada Inn? I thought it was a Holiday Inn. I don't remember. But I've been there.
I haven't.
All right, we'll take our bottom of the hour break. We'll be back with Michael Mack on Charlotte County Sports Authority, 1070 NBC Sports.
I'm Greg Linnelli.
Welcome back to the Larry Timko Show on 1070 NBC Sports. Andrew Sherback and Michael Mack in studio with me. Michael Mack performing at Vasani's all weekend long. 629-9191 or log on. Did I say that? Oh, wait. Well, you're looking for...
No. It's the sure on my back.
Yeah, Sherback. How do I say your last name?
Sherback. Yeah,
Sherback. I said it right. Okay.
He has the most clever pun to date with it.
I was like, did I say that wrong? Oh, no.
Honestly, I don't even really know what it is. I was told it changed a generation or two ago, and I can't really even find my ancestors, so...
Did you see the T-shirt I made? I photoshopped because Drew said he wanted a new shirt for the Vasani. This is about a year ago or something.
I did see that. That was actually good. I thought you were going to make that into a T-shirt.
I was going to order like 5 of them and send one to him, and I thought it would just be funny to have.
Yeah.
It's Drew, if you're listening, it's Drew shirtless on the front of his shirt. I cropped one of his Facebook pictures, and it says, Vasani, we'll give you the sure off our back. Shirtless looking silly.
He crushed that status, by the way. Like, everybody talks to me about it when they come in.
It was like some of the most likes I've ever had clicked on a post within a thread before. It was like 14 or something.
If we're going to rehash,
you're happy if you get 3. I was like,
if we're going to rehash the past a little bit, I recall a Photoshop king who was on some TV network.
He just brought this up. I know what you're talking about.
Was that last year?
Yeah, I was at Off the Hook maybe in Marco. Or no, it was at Sarasota.
Was it Sarasota? Okay.
Did them back to back. So yeah, I was at McCurdy's. Yeah.
They had you on TV. They're going through all your...
They surprised me. They didn't tell me they were going to do that. Usually it's all planned. Like, you're going to do this song, and we're going to do this break, and then out of the blue, so we've been on your Facebook page. I'm like, uh-oh, where are we going with this?
I know where we go with this.
And they started just putting them on TV. And there always be super clean when you're on TV. Always super clean. You know, soccer moms listening and all this. And they put my filthiest picture up there.
I know. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, wow.
Snappers. It's a club. And so I put a giant snapper on with his mouth on my crotch. You know, funny ad for the... But they put it on their TV station.
It was amazing.
It was.
I loved it, too.
That was
Apparently
funny.
My friends were looking.
Yeah. I was watching. I saw it. I couldn't believe it either. But you do some really cool stuff with Photoshop, man.
I wish there was a job just Photoshopping. That's really where my real talent is.
Well, isn't that like Kimmel and all those graphics they show? Isn't that kind of Photoshop?
Sure.
Okay,
yeah,
so
exactly.
you have to go to New York or L.A.
I guess so.
You don't want to do that.
But man, it's fun. I really like altering pictures.
Oh, I know you do some really funny and
Drew's
cool stuff.
naked body on a T-shirt was
love it.
So much fun. I watching people just laugh their heads off at it.
That's why I like when you go on tour, because you do a different Photoshop for every place you go.
It's true.
It's really neat.
Yeah. I always challenge myself something new.
I believe we received Michael Myers, or was it Jason?
Yeah, I get those guys mixed
Me too.
up. Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th is Jason.
Yeah, it was Jay, and he's got the hockey mask, so I put me with a hockey stick, slapping a hockey puck, going through his chest, and blood coming out, and he's like, what? Michael Mack kicked my butt.
Nice. So where do you go from here? Are you going to take some time off at any point in your life? Because you tour constantly, it seems like.
Well, yeah. I tour enough, but I also I flipped a house.
You did?
Yeah, I did that just last year.
In Augusta?
Yeah, I did. I bought a really cheap 2-1 and remodeled the thing entirely from top to bottom.
How do you find time?
It was way more time I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be a weekend project. There were times I was working 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, and it still took me 6 months of hard labor. I was like, I've made a serious mistake. I made a lot of money. But man,
enough where you would do it again?
No, not that way. Not that way. I'd have to do it smarter. Even if I made half as much money, I gotta sub it out.
So my thinking is, Michael Mack's on tour. He's in his hotel room, and he's HGTV, flip or flop. I could do this.
That's what I was saying. As I'm rebuilding this house in an absolute nightmare, and think of all the people, regular people, because I've remodeled houses. I've done construction my whole life, and it's rough for me. And I'm picturing all these nice, sweet couples, or all these people who watch these shows and go, honey, we could do this. And I'm thinking, they are heading for a nightmare. They do not have any idea what they're about to get themselves into.
I had a grandfather who was an electrician, so we used to go work on houses all the time. And I saw what went into that. I was like, you have no idea. And everything that can go wrong will go wrong. You know, like, good pipes. No, you don't. Next thing you know, you're replacing stuff.
We did it with our remodels at Vasani twice now, once each year for the past 2 years.
Problems, you mean?
Oh, everything. We essentially replaced every interior wall in the showroom, the kitchen, etc. And just the stuff that goes into these projects is just so much more substantial.
Built in 2005.
I know, right? So imagine grabbing something from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and like I couldn't fathom. No, thank you.
Yeah, your new construction you're remodeling on and you're finding problems.
Yep.
Imagine like these houses.
This house was 1951.
Oh, God. Good luck. Pink tile in the bathroom?
Oh, yeah. There actually was.
There really
Were you there?
No, but I know the type. I know the houses. I rented one.
Had to demolish everything. Gutted the kitchen, gutted the bath.
That is quite possibly the worst look I've ever seen is the pink tile
Well, yeah.
bathrooms out of all.
And it was popular.
Yeah, it was pink with the black edge. It was
They
weird.
have rentals here in Port Charlotte that still have them. I've been looking at them for my brother. They still got them.
Oh, yeah. My first house I rented here was like a 1961 model, and it wasn't updated since 1961. You know? So it's like, you got to go pump the well. Get the water. No, I just can't that far, but it did have the pink tile, and it was horrible.
Ew.
Yeah, anyway, it was gross. Anyway, let's take our final break. We'll come back and just wrap things up with Michael Mack on Charlotte County Sports Authority, 1070 NBC Sports. Welcome back to the Larry Timko Show on Charlotte County Sports Authority, 1070 NBC Sports. Go ahead, you can be my background music. I'll just turn this down. All right.
He has his own entrance music now.
Does he?
It's background music. You're supposed to be talking.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to start singing. Hey,
You told me to do background.
All right. Welcome back to the Charlotte County Sports Authority. Michael Mack in studio performing at Vasani's tonight and tomorrow. For tickets, log on to Vasani.net or call 941-629-9191.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We were actually talking sports during our break, guys, believe it or not. And
That's the thing we do.
Believe it or not.
all right. And I was explaining to Michael about the whole Jameis Winston situation. And the reason why I don't think Jameis is going to throw another pass in a Tampa Bay uniform is because of his contract. If he gets hurt, the Buccaneers will owe him $20.5 million next season. If he doesn't get hurt, they can cut him and be
I see
free
what
and
you're
clear.
saying now. You're saying they would like to cut him before he gets hurt.
I think so.
Because if that happens, they're in deep hole.
I really feel like the Jameis Winston era is over in Tampa Bay.
He's also terrible now. So, like, did you guys account for that part? Just the money.
We'll factor that into the
You
equation.
said, I believe you said on the break most interceptions in the league, didn't you?
He missed the first 3 games of the season
And
because of
still.
suspension, and he still leads the league in interceptions.
Defending.
What started this conversation is I asked Larry, Fitzpatrick comes back from a 3-touchdown deficit, and I've been watching the Bucs since day one, and I don't remember ever seeing anyone do that.
No.
You got to give this guy a shot.
He earned the right to
Yeah, I
be the
agree.
starting
Those first
quarterback.
2 games,
Yes.
I don't think he should have been benched after those 2 games. He should have given him at least half the season for those alone. What do you have? The highest field yardage in 2 games ever?
Yes.
In like the history of football.
Yeah.
I mean,
400. He's the first
how do you-
quarterback ever to post
How do you
back-to-back
bench
400
that
yard
guy?
games.
How do you bench that guy ever? I mean, at least give him 6 games.
I agree with you. I guess the thinking was that Brian Fitzpatrick's 34 and he's not the future of this franchise.
I guess. You're
and
right.
Jameis
That's a
Winston
good
is.
argument.
And the other argument I guess you have to think is we just picked up his option. It's not a guaranteed option. Now, if we're going to go forward with Jameis Winston, we got to know now. And they saw it. Okay, he's not the future here. So now he's benched. Fitzpatrick's the quarterback, and Winston's
He's
not.
also a superstar.
Yep.
He became like an icon immediately this season.
It's because of what he
and
did at
that's
Florida
good for the
State.
franchise. Like, so even if they're not winning games, like they are on a bigger stage because of Fitzpatrick. The whole internet knew who he was overnight, not because of how well he played. It's because how he showed up at the press conference, how he did his interviews. Like he's a figure now.
Right.
All the people that wore beards, fake beards too.
Well, I posted a picture. I realized I was 2 hours late on the internet because I wasn't on it, but I pictured it. I said Conor McGregor's great at football too. and then I realized everybody did that. But it's true. He's like he's kind of.
But this is my thing with Tampa Bay. If you're really done with Jameis Winston, why don't you activate him? Don't let him suit up, and make him 3rd string and put Ryan Griffin as your 2nd string quarterback. So what if Ryan Fitzpatrick gets hurt this week? Jameis is going to be back in. So
All right, what about this angle? Think about being a coach and having to make that decision. What you just said about Winston is the future. He's younger and this and that. But the future may not be this year.
No.
It's got to be. You got to be torn, saying, "What if Fitzpatrick takes us to the Super Bowl?"
Yeah.
But are we going to sacrifice that shot this year, even though he may not even play next year, for the future? Or do I go with the guy who might do it this year right now?
Right.
Like, how do you make that decision?
I agree. I'm a
big.
big believer in you got to win today. You know what I mean? It's this week. So you have to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But what if he does lead this team to a Super Bowl? What are you going to do? Because he's a free agent.
Right.
And now if you want to keep Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's going to cost you $20 million a year.
Isn't that true?
Say, get it now. Tampa needs it.
I know.
A championship. At least get the playoffs.
The Buccaneers are a mess.
The quarterback slot hold some older people too. Isn't how old was Brett Favre when he left?
Oh,
he
he's
looked
old. He's
almost 40.
How old is Tom Brady? How old was Peyton Manning when he left? Like that slot can hold an older person if they're good at throwing the football.
Yeah.
And you have a good offensive line that can protect.
Right. Yeah. That's
Jameis
true.
Winston, too, I want to throw this out here, is 24 years old. All right. You look at some of these rookie quarterbacks, he's right around the same age as some of these rookie quarterbacks, and he's been in the league for 4 seasons.
I forget that
you know?
until you just said that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he really